Okay, so here we have the financial model that underpins pretty much the entire Spanish equity proposal. And there's some key stuff here, I guess. Start off the boilerplate just kind of explains some key terms that are used throughout the model. The model was originally based on looking at a cohort of 72-year-olds who would join and seeing how those people's chance of dying over the course of the 30 or 29 years to 100 would affect cash flows. So what we've done here is we have looked at these statistics for a year on year, and we've then divvied those out um, equally across the entire 12 months. And that way we've gotten the monthly cash flows, the likely monthly cash flows arising from mortality within the cohort. I'll talk a little bit about the distribution now of people who are going to be taking up our scheme. So let me just go to the distribution sheet. I'll explain all these worksheets as well. They're all interrelated. The whole model gets changed if you change certain key parameters, and it percolates through all the worksheets. So here we have our distribution of uptake. Now, this age on entry, we're assuming that people are 72 or older, and that would be a 73-year-old, 74, 75, so on and so forth, up to somebody who is 100 at 29 years after they join the program. And this is what we see as the distribution. And currently, it's based somewhere around about the mid 80s. We are going to be getting people who are, because we're the only provider in town, we can afford to be very picky about who we take on. We're generally going to go for people who are older and who are sicker, either or, and we're going to, or both would be great. So we're looking at people, generally speaking, expiring within about 4 to 5 years of taking up the arrangement. That would be the majority case. Now we give people 40% of, we discount, we give them 60% loan to value, if you like. So 40% is the discount. We get a 40% discount off the price. We also have valuations that are kind of generally 3 to 5% under the market value, and this is a value that it's fair. It's done by an independent assessor, but it's the kind of value that would materialize in a place going relatively quickly. So we're not going to be pitching the thing up an extra 5%. Great if we could get it, but we probably wouldn't. So the whole model works here on relatively quick turnover achieved by aggressive pricing, both when we buy and when we sell. So but we're still getting a 40% discount. We're getting that for holding the property in bare ownership for about 4 or 5 years before getting a full title and being able to execute a sale. The model also includes a 5% entry fee, a 1% initiation fee, and then an ongoing year-on-year 1% maintenance fee. And all those additional fees I've just spoken about, they are covered by the seller, the person who's selling the bare ownership. So yeah, let me. So we do think as well the mortality statistics that we have are based on healthy cohorts of individuals. Let me just go and show you that page very quickly. So this basically represents the chance of somebody dying within any given year, and it's based on statistics for Spain, and the statistics are for general population. They do take account of health implicitly, but we will be probably targeting as I said, an unhealthier cohort of 72-year-olds, 73-year-olds, 74-year-olds, and so on and so forth. So the chances of dying will be higher. We'll be approached by those people ourselves because we do think that the lack of coverage of health costs in Spain and other countries where you have people, UK foreign nationals living, because of Brexit, their health costs will no longer be covered by the Spanish government or whatever government, and as a result of that, that probably will be a fairly significant motivator for them to sell their properties, so to cover those health costs. So we think we're going to get sicker people, basically. I don't want to sound morbid, but that's the reality. Okay, so this page here, the sum of M, and this gives a monthly summation over 24 months of what we think the cash flows are going to be. And as I said, we've worked out the likelihood of dying, per month by just dividing the likelihood of dying within a particular year by 12. And then we've applied this in M1, M2, M3, M4, and so on and so forth. This is month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5. Now, what we've done is we're predicting a certain level of growth. So we start off with 30 arrangements, 30 clients. And month 2, we grow that by 100%. So there's another 30, 60 in total. Month 3, we grow by 75%, so there's another 45. And month 4, we grow by 80%, so there's another 84, adding to a grand total of 189 arrangements by month 4. Then month 5, we kind of plateau at around about 100 additional arrangements, which is 55 of the 179, giving 103. And then we kind of, roughly speaking, maintain that level for each additional month, and we can do that with our current levels of staffing within Spanish property. So that maintains, roughly speaking, a little bit of wavering. I mainly try to keep these percentages in bite-sized chunks. I didn't want to do really odd 4 decimal place percentages, so I've just tried to keep it kind of as simple as possible. It's, roughly speaking, 100 additional arrangements each month. Kind of wavers around the line a little bit. Sometimes it's a bit more, sometimes it's a bit less, but that's it anyway. So they're the levels of growth that we're expecting. So this is a good example. Month 1. So we've got the number of clients here is 30, and then we've got the average value of the property, the average purchase price, which is 60 or 62% of this guy here, and we've then worked out through a combination of what we think the distributions are going to be across these age groups, what we think. And this is a combination of the distributions plus the likelihood of somebody dying within this particular month to give us our cash flow. And our cash flow is going to be negative 8,000 to begin with. Now that doesn't obviously include the 10 million we're going to use to buy properties outright start. So this charts then what's going to happen with that 10 million over the course of 29 years, starting with people at age 72 and going on and on and on till they, well, actually, we've only charted this out for 5 years in total. We've done that for, let me see, for I think we've got 24 months that we're basically modeling here. So it's pretty self-explanatory when you get into the detail. I added a new sheet there. So let me just go blah 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 blah. Yep. Okay. So 24 months, and the yields are looking very, very positive on these things. And I said they will, as I said, they will get better. Like the yields to the end of the first year are about 5.42%, with no, sorry. They're about 5%, sorry, with no counterparty risk. The only risk here are two risks. Firstly, you've got obviously exposure to the Spanish property market. We've predicted a year-on-year increase in the base value of Spanish property of somewhere between 2 and 3%. The other thing, of course, is that you're dependent on the legislation and case law to back this conversion from beneficial ownership to full title, and that is a very strong, legislatively very strong, and there is quite a good deal of case law to support this. Probably not the same as in France, where what's it called, Verrier has been knocking about since the 1940s, which is a form of equity release. But it's still, nonetheless, there is no problems of, you're not going to go into probate over this stuff. You're basically, as soon as the person dies, we gain full title and can execute a sale. So it's pretty straightforward. It's a brilliant yield, like for something that's not essentially that risky. Now out to year 2, then you can see between there and there you've got essentially a rounding it off about a 7% increase in the cumulative value. As cash flow as a percentage of cumulative value, which is really quite amazing. So yeah. And this cash flow is resulting, as I said, from the sale of properties as a result of people passing away. And that's added up from each of these guys here, as you can see. If we go in here, dum-de-dum-de-dum. So it's going all the way across the 24 months there. Okay, I think that's about it. Not really much else to show you guys here. Maybe if we go... oh yeah, this was the original model. We were modeling people coming in and spending full 30 years or whatever with us on the program up until their 100th birthday. So as you go through this, it's less and less people, or less and less years, I mean, to 100. So this is modeling an 82-year-old joining the program, the likelihood of them living to 100, and the cash flows based upon them dying. And this was their starter model. We just modeled the effects of what happens to 10 million euros as somebody joins at the age of 82 or 92 or 93, and you see that cash being distributed across the years based on the mortality statistics. Now, what we also applied to this model was that distribution I shared with you a little earlier. This Poisson curve, or Poisson distribution. So it's just a standard Poisson probabilistic distribution with the total area of everything under that. If you drew a curve over the histogram there, the total area under it would be 1. So it's just your standard probabilistic curve thing. And I do think that this would be skewed a little bit towards this end, and the tail would be a little bit fatter. I have played around with mu values. I can kind of skew it like that. But then our cohort is going to be a good deal sicker. So the mortality statistics probably won't stack up in quite the same way. So yeah, that's it for me. Nothing else to really see here, folks. So I'm very happy to support any questions you might have.